Chapter 32, Baby is indeed hungry, throwing herself into hubby's arms. After Fu Jingzhou left, Su Wan Ci turned her gaze to Luu. Why are you here? Luu placed the lunchbox he held onto the table, then casually and languidly seated himself across from Su Wan Ci. He spoke just 2 words, delivering food. Su Wan Ci paused, then glanced at the stack of lunchboxes on the table, surprised. Luu, have you had too much salt? He went along with it. Yeah, I'm bored. So you've come to quench your thirst by looking for my wife. Su Wan Ci. She put down the pen in her hand, finding it hard to understand why he suddenly decided to bring her food. Luu, there's a cafeteria in Hualien Hospital where you can have 3 meals a day. Luu quickly followed up with, is the hospital food even tasty? Su Wan Ci. She came to work, not to critique the taste of cafeteria meals. But Luu paid no attention to her thoughts. His gaze swept over a door in the room. Is that the rest area? Su Wan Ci nodded. Dr. Lin was concerned that she might get tired working all day, so he had assigned the largest office in the rest area as her workspace. This way, if Su Wan Ci didn't go back for lunch, she could rest in the room. Su Wan Ci watched as Luu, this young master, got up from his seat, took one of the lunchboxes, and with his other hand, grabbed her hand and led her into the rest area. Setting the lunchbox on a table in front of the sofa, Luu glanced around the room's layout. There was a bed, a cabinet, a sofa, and tables and chairs. All the essentials were present. It was evident that Lin Angguo had put in considerable thought into arranging an office for Su Wan Ci. He arranged the food from the lunchbox onto the table. Seeing Su Wan Ci still standing at the doorway, Luu urged her, "Wife, come over, it'll get cold." Su Wan Ci walked closer, but before she could sit down, Luu suddenly reached out and pulled her closer. Unsteady on her feet, she fell right into his arms. Luu held onto her waist, steadying her in his embrace. Teasingly, he said, "Baby is indeed hungry," throwing herself into hubby's arms. Su Wan Ci. She swatted at his hand, "Let go of me." Rather than releasing her, Luu held her tighter. His dark eyes gleamed like stars. "Why should I let go? You're my rightful wife. What's wrong with holding you for a moment?" With that, he adjusted her into a comfortable sitting position, held her close, lowered his head, and playfully kissed her lips, their breaths entwining. 5 minutes later, he let her go. Staring at her glossy lips, Luu, not holding back, licked his own lips right in front of Su Wan Ci. "Sweet, today's appetizer is quite good." Avoiding his heated gaze, Su Wan Ci said, "Stop messing around, let go of me so I can get up." Luu pretended innocence. "This sofa is too small, we can't sit comfortably. Baby, just bear with it for a while. I'll hold you while you eat." His words were barely out of his mouth when he picked up a shrimp tail and, taking advantage of Su Wan Ci's hesitation, directly fed it to her, effectively preventing her from refusing. Savoring the familiar taste of the food in her mouth, Su Wan Ci asked Luu, "You didn't personally make this meal, did you?" With a smile, he nodded. Touched. Su Wan Ci. "You, a multinational corporation's big boss, why are you so idle?" This morning at 7:30, Luu had left the house with her. It was only 11:30 now. He had already prepared the lunch and brought it to Hualien Hospital. There were 4 dishes and a soup on the table, implying that he had at least returned to Huading Manor by 10 o'clock to prepare lunch. Luu then picked up a piece of dongpo pork and fed it to Su Wan Ci. He said as he did so, "Baby, do you know what allowed Lu Sheng Group to expand to its current scale?" "What?" "Delegation." Lu continued, "A good leader doesn't hold all the power tightly in their hands. A person's energy is limited. If they have to personally oversee everything, the company will never grow. The leader's vision and perspective indirectly determine the company's size," Lu explained. Although Su Wanci had never worked in a company, she had to admit that what Lu said made a lot of sense. The extent of authority a leader delegates to their subordinates is directly proportional to the achievements they reap. In the rest area, the two of them continued Lu feeding and Su Wanci eating, creating an inexplicable atmosphere of peaceful years. 20 minutes later, Su Wanci was full. She leaned back slightly, trying to avoid Lu's attempt to feed her again. "I'm full, let go of me. You should eat." Lu's lips curled into a lazy smile. Bending his elbow, he brought the food to his own mouth. He didn't let her go, continuing to hold her while leisurely feeding himself. As Lu took his first bite, Su Wanci's attention was drawn to the hand he had placed around her waist. Seeing that he wasn't letting go, her gaze happened to fall on the chopsticks he was using to pick up the food. Around the time Lu was picking up his third bite, Su Wanci suddenly reached out and pressed down on his wrist. "Get a new pair of chopsticks." Lu pretended not to understand. "What's wrong?" Su Wanci got to the point, "These are the ones I used." "Get a new pair." With a silent laugh, Lu said, "Does baby mind this?" He lowered his voice as his scorching gaze fell on her. "After so many kisses, isn't baby used to it?" Su Wanci didn't reply. Her instincts told her that he was about to say something not so pleasant. As expected, Lu playfully teased her, "If wife isn't used to it, then I'll help wife adapt a little more." Su Wanci was no match for Lu in this kind of verbal sparring. She was even more afraid that in her small rest area, an amorous scene would unfold. Hence, Su Wanci wisely turned her gaze aside, paying him no more attention.